life flows perfectly through each of us. That life flows as this life that we, as one, create in this beautiful present moment. That the past has no hold, it has no power. That this present moment is the power and the presence and the divine essence of God that we can use, that we can employ, that we can allow into our lives as the divine energy. To know that as we open, as we allow this life, this love, this peace, and this power to be who we are, to relax, to let it be, to know that God is, and all is well. In this moment, I know and trust that each of us is a divine expression of God. That life is the divine presence that allows us to live in this present experience fully and completely as love, as joy, and as peace. In gratitude for this moment, in gratitude that each of us is this expression of God and that we share it openly and freely, that we allow it to be our essence and our culmination. In gratitude that each of us is the divine in expression, I release this word to the law, knowing that it is the truth, that it is done through each of us, perfectly, with poise and presence. I release, I let it go, I let it be so. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret Ann. Beautiful as always. When Pierre and I are choosing music for a week, sometimes we get a talk title. Sometimes we get a suggestion from Jonathan. Sometimes it's very theme specific. We're never quite sure. And Monday, Tuesday, we kind of let it bubble. Like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And we stay open. And often things are presented to us either, funnily enough, when I'm shopping at Loblaws. And like music will come on and I go, oh, or we're in the car, or a piece of music will just kind of be sticking out of our masses of piles of music. We just look for a hook, for something, and we just stay open to what needs to be sung on a Sunday. And to be honest with you, sometimes it's just because we feel like doing a song because we like it. Because we like to have fun. All of us like to have fun, and if we're having fun, we know you're having fun. But this week, and with this whole 7 spiritual laws, because I have my tattered copy at home that I've read many, many times, this week I went to it, and this is what popped out, very much similar to what you were saying, Margaret Ann. If I may, this was the hook that came to me for the week. You must become consciously aware that your future is generated by the choices you are making in every moment of your life. If you do this on a regular basis, then you are making full use of the law of karma. By becoming a conscious choice maker, you begin to generate actions that are evolutionary for you and for those that are around you. And that's all you need to do. So when Pierre and I were kind of riffing on what this chapter was about, and it's like, well, what song should we do for feature? He went, oh, I know, and pulled up a song he wrote a year and a half ago, I guess. I think so. Creator, boom, it was there, and it was like, oh, perfect. So we are doing today Creator.
If your days are long and you're going home thinking, what's the use? Not living your dreams, and it seems There's always another excuse. Can't understand why the frustration won't die. It just follows you wherever you go, time and again. Love attraction won't end, so learn what you need to know. Some say life happens by chance. I beg to differ. I hold a different stance. You are a creator. You are your life maker. Beliefs held in your mind will appear in your present time. You are a creator. It's just a shift in your consciousness where the intention goes. The energy flows, so it is what it is. The past can't be undone. Bust your heart open wide, a change in the tide has begun. We hold the power to change our lives, to see the world again with new eyes. You are a creator. You are your life maker. Beliefs held in your mind will appear in your present time. You are a creator. Let the stories you tell be of joy, not hell. You're the author of the play. What will you write today? It's just a shift in your consciousness where the intention goes. Energy flows. You are a creator. You are your life maker. Beliefs held in your mind will appear in your present time. You are a creator. It's just a shift in your consciousness where the intention goes. Energy flow.
Our guest speaker today is a woman Pierre and I have known for years, Reverend Diane Hoover. Always full of grace, always full of wisdom and humor. It's delightful to have you here today. And I've said this before, we never know the impact we have on somebody's life. And something you may say may linger with somebody for a very long time. I want to share something with you. When you talked here probably 4 or 5 years ago, you told a story, I may be a little wrong on it, but it was something about being stuck in traffic because there had been a horrendous accident. And everybody was so frustrated, and you in that moment said, rather than get caught up in, like, I'm late, I can't get where I'm going, give a blessing to who's in the ambulance, the paramedics. To this day, whenever I hear a siren, I go to blessing. So, thank you. So that has stayed with me all this time. So on that note, let me invite up here Reverend Diane Hoover to share some more fabulous wisdom with us.
No pressure, no pressure. Thank you so much. It's so great to be back here. And I have to say, it's like that commercial. When I look at this place, you come a long way, baby. I mean, the band, everybody. And I want to say from me to a special welcome to those who are watching, to Helen and Jonathan. There's this place for you in the front row, and I'm imagining that all of you are with us this morning. Also, I have a little message to deliver from my husband, Ned. He used to be on your board, right? Yeah, so he couldn't come today because he's puppy sitting a little German shepherd that's about this high. So he gave me 2 instructions. 1, to say hello to all his friends and new friends, and 2, to go get him something at Sweet Bliss. So, I mean, with me in his life, how much more Sweet Bliss does he need? I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to do that. I'd like to begin, if I could, with another prayer treatment. I mean, just like Ned with his Sweet Bliss, can we get too much prayer? So before I do this short treatment, I just want you to be aware of the person to your left, if there is one, person to your right, if there is one, and if there isn't one, wherever you are, imagine the first person, if you could fly invisibly, where they'd be. The person behind you and the person in front of you. So I invite you to put your feet on the floor again, relax. Because I wanted to ask you a question. How are you? But I wanted to ask you with your eyes closed. And I invite you to go into what I call the sacred cave of your heart. How was your week? The week that was, how was that week? If you're like me, there was a range of emotional experiences. I felt joy returning home from a month in Italy. I felt fatigue. Our house was sold, and a lot of our stuff was in a storage place that I've never been to yet. I felt sadness. One of my best friends is working with extreme cancer radiation. I felt inspired. I love my job at Metropolitan Community Church. So, a range of emotions for me. If I had to sum up with one word, well, let me ask you first. Just get in touch with your week that was. I'm going to ask this very scientific survey with your eyes closed so that you'll have privacy. If you'd sum up your week, the week that was, and you had to choose one of 3 words, challenging, okay, or amazing, what would it be? So raise your right hand if you can, if you would choose challenging. And raise your right hand if you would choose okay. And raise your right hand if you would choose amazing. Me too. And I imagine that with this wide range, and maybe some of you, none of these words really applied. But let's just pray. As we create this sacred time together, let us allow ourselves to bless and release the week that was, with gratitude, compassion, and with love. Let us send a healing and inspiring blessing to the person on our right, if there is one. Let's send a healing and inspiring blessing to the person on our left, to the person in front, and the person behind. We are present today as unique individuals, as a collective community of sacred friends. May our reflections on the Deepak Chopra's third spiritual law of success serve to comfort us, bless us, and challenge us. Peace, peace, peace. Please join me in saying Amen. Amen. And please join me in saying, Ah, women. Ah, women. Thank you. When Jonathan asked me to come and be with you today, I was in a little cafe in Cortona, Italy, where we go, I guess, for the last 6 years for a month, and just on a little iPad, and I was reading it, and the thought that came to me was, although I've connected with Jonathan, I have never been able to get here, because my work, I do leadership development, and I only do it now for faith-based organizations and leaders. So usually I will be, even before I started working for MCC Toronto, I would be looking at one of my clients, what their world was like. So I've been to Catholic churches, Seventh-day Adventist, Pentecostal, so I just haven't been able to get here, and I really have intended to. Because at MCC Toronto, we really believe in building bridges with a vibrant spirituality that transforms lives and our world, and I know that's what you do here as well. I also know another thing we have in common. We are a VIP church, and I know you are too. Does anybody know what that means, VIP? Vibrant, inclusive, and progressive. So when Jonathan asked me to do this, I knew that, and I'll explain maybe a little later why I knew to say yes, because one of the things I've been doing in the last year is being very, very clear and very specific about what's mine to do and what isn't. One of the things that isn't is me being a platform minister. I do it a little while, so don't get your hopes up too much. I am not going to be another Jonathan or Helen or Brent Hawks, but I was happy to come. I once said to a Unity minister who asked me to fill in while he was on vacation, and I said, "You haven't even heard me speak." And he said, "Well, if you're great, then my congregation will be happy with me because I picked someone good. If you're terrible, they'll be so happy to have me back." So I win anyway. So before I started working, just in the last 3 months at MCC Toronto, I had a 6-month contract at the Chopra Center, oddly enough, in Toronto. And I had a lot of connection with the Chopra Center in California, and I thought for a while that might be the place I'm supposed to be, except I didn't want to travel anymore. But there in Toronto, with the yoga classes, I was with the wellness people, but in the yoga classes, every week was one of the days of the spiritual laws. So I thought, oh, this is great. And like you, Tanis, I wanted to speak with my little tattered book from way back that my ex-husband gave me. That's how far back it is. And it's in some locker that I've never been to. So I had to come and beg for a copy here. And by the way, is there anybody here who doesn't have that book? Because if you haven't, you can buy mine. It's from your bookstore.
You don't have good karma.
Yes, that's right. I'll bless it, I promise. I want to have a look. I have done sermons on this before, not for many years, but I got my old notes out, and that's what I thought I was going to do until last night, and I kind of changed it. And I do want it to be interactive, so I'll leave some time at the end, I hope, to let you maybe ask some questions. But I wanted to just kind of do a little trip down memory lane about how this message of what you reap, you sow, what you sow, you reap. And I started with looking at the Bible. And I believe that the Bible is a sacred book, and I honor it. I take it seriously, but not literally. And as a child, it was kind of pushed at me quite a bit. And it was always, to me, a little bit fear-based. Tell me what you think. What it says in the Bible in Galatians chapter 6, verse 6. Just feel the tone and the energy of this. Be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whosoever a man soweth, whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So to me, it meant be good or else, you know? There's this big club coming down. And it is, and it's still a little bit mysterious for me, the whole karma thing, past lives, who knows, and all that. But there's some things that I do know for sure. And I was pleased that you used that little book, this thing called You, because quite a few years ago, I did some work at a big Unity church in Warren, Michigan. Marianne Williamson was the senior pastor or the director there. And I was given the gift of that book. And it became my little book that was worn somewhere in a locker. And they called him Ernie. So I kind of wanted to see a little bit what Ernie had to say as well. Just so far as we depend upon any condition, past, present, or future, we are creating chaos because we are dealing with conditions, the effect, and not the cause. The Spirit of truth will lead us into all good. This is the high road to the fundament of our lives. So did you notice the difference in the energy? It's probably saying the same thing. And I'm thinking, I kind of escaped the Bible way of thinking a little bit. I don't mean I don't ever refer to it, but I mean, imagine if you thought that, this mysterious thing that, if you do something wrong, it's going to come back to haunt you. You don't know how or when, but it will. It's a wonder. They must have been very screwed up. Must be all in therapy now, because to me, it doesn't serve me well. Where our attention goes, energy flows. That's totally, totally what's truth for me. And then with Deepak. The third spiritual law of success is the law of karma. It's both action and consequence. Therefore, karma implies the action of conscious choice making. Does that not sound familiar to what is taught here? That makes me feel at ease when I think that I'm hearing the same message from many different places, but my attention goes to not so much of looking at if I do something wrong, or when I had breast cancer, it was because I something bad I did in my youth or childhood. I must have done something bad. That doesn't serve me well. Actually, at that church in Michigan, Marianne did 2 services, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. And in between, she would see people in her office. And she said to me, "Can you come and do your energy work while I pray for 2 women? They have cancer." So that would be great. So I did. And one of those women was just told that week that she had cancer. The other one was very triumphant, pulled off her wig, and I finally made it through the radiation and this and that, and very, very 2 different intentions there to pray for. And the woman, so I was standing behind doing the energy work that I do, which is prayer without words, basically. And the woman was crying and said to Marianne, "I know I did something for this. I know I did." And Marianne said, if it helps you to think that you're so powerful that you can create a tumor, fine, you can believe that. But it really doesn't serve you to place your attention there. Rather, let's place our attention on your ability to heal. If you're so powerful that you can create a tumor, you're all, so it's just a shift, really, isn't it? It's just a shift in how we look at it. But having a conscious awareness, one of the things that has really helped me in the last, I guess, 3 or 4 years, I've been learning. You know, I'm a grandmother, but I don't think I'll ever. Every time I thought I knew it all, you know, back down on my knees I went. But I worked for a consulting firm where we did with Lance Secretan, and we did amazing work where we take leaders out of their workplace for a week and put them through higher ground leadership, and it was wonderful. And one of the days, completely, I think we took a complete day for this, we would teach people how to look at their destiny, their calling, and their cause. Very powerful. Most of it was done with health-based hospitals, and so we had lots of doctors and heads of the hospitals and so forth. And a lot of people that are busy and have very responsible jobs, as well as day-to-day people like me, we don't often, you know, take time to look at that. But I did, and I knew what my destiny, calling, and cause was and so forth. But I found myself a few years ago a little bit floundering. I had what a lot of people would think is a happy, perfect life. I have a good relationship with my children, with my husband. I love where I live, although I'm moving. I love where I live, you know, but it's important to do the work that you're veered away. Because I could do it, I'd say yes, and then I wouldn't feel that success, because that's what this is about. It's about what does success feel like to me. So one of the things in terms of being conscious, I was gifted with a book. It's not one that, wish I could say I wrote it. There's an organization called Strategic Coach. I don't know if you know of it, but their work is amazing. I can't afford to go there because I think the minimum is what, 500,000, Joey, that you have to have in order, you have to be earning that as an entrepreneur in order to pay them thousands of dollars. But you know what, it works, and they're very successful. They're here, they're in Chicago. Anyway, I had a reason to go, and they gave me a gift of this book called Unique Ability. And I did everything in the book because I knew it was a time in my life where I needed to stop saying yes to things that really weren't quite, even the Chopra Center, I liked it, but there was something huge missing. I wasn't working with a team. I had my clients come and go, and I loved them and loved the work that we were doing, but there was never time to, other than the opening where I met the other practitioners that were there, we didn't work as a team, and that's what I was longing for. But anyway, I did everything in the book. So and you could pay if you can earn that money and you can go there and pay thousands of dollars, or you can just go buy the book. I've sent many, and they don't mind. I've checked it out. They're actually in the process of rewriting it, Unique Ability, and it'll be out in September or October. I know this because they just interviewed me for the book. But one of the things that suggests you do is ask 15 people that know you quite well, and a variety. Some could be your relatives, some your friends, some your clients, or you know, people that you do business with or whatever, but make a mixture. And ask them what is unique about you. This is helping you get conscious. What is it about me that's maybe different that you don't see in other people? And you get 15 of them. And mine all came by email, so I copied them and put them on the floor, and I use that along with the work that I do called Lumina, Enlightening, which helps people understand themselves, understand others, and how to adapt. So I use it for myself as well. I use that information to create my own unique ability statement, which is to support conscious, sacred, and effective leaders. But the key thing was, it's not too far off of what I had with the Secretan work, but the key thing was you say what it is you do and why. So my unique ability is to support conscious, sacred, and effective leaders who are helping to create a conscious, sacred, and effective world. Well, using that as my North Star, it was like if someone called and said, Diane, can you do this? And okay, they're going to pay me. No, it doesn't fit that. When I started to do that, miracles happen. I mean, really. I'll tell you how I got to go to MCC Church. I did a workshop. Actually, Shiros was there out of town. And a girlfriend of mine that was there fell in love with another girlfriend of mine. The one girlfriend was gay and the other one wasn't. That didn't end up very well. And so, like a true girlfriend, you'd say, okay, well, that at least means you're willing to meet somebody. So I don't go to bars, nor does she. So I said, I've heard of this church. I think it's a gay church. It is, and it's also lots of people who are not, but I knew it then as. So I didn't go to that church for any sacred, spiritual reason. I wanted my girlfriend to fall in love. And we went, and the joke was that my husband and I fell in love with the church. And I just knew I was home. I knew that this was where I was supposed to be, no matter whether the Chopra Center was interested in some of my own material. And, you know, who knows, maybe I would someday. But I just thought, no, this is, and it's so big. Those of you who have been there, it took me a long time. The only people I started to know were a couple, like the minister, the Brent Hawks, who's quite well known. He did Jack Layton's funeral, if you saw that. I started doing leadership development work for them, but I really didn't know how the rest of it all worked. They have 15 deacons, and it takes 150 volunteers every Sunday to run our 3 services. So it's a very active, vibrant church. And I didn't know what people did, but I just knew I was supposed to be there. And here I had just, I was maybe on the 4th month with my contract with the Chopra Center. And I did get to be friends with Brent. And one day he asked me to dinner. And so I had my little list of things. I wasn't quite sure how I could fit in, and I tried to do a little workshop. I think you came, Joey, and like, that's not going to get people to know. Like bringing my own friends there, and you were there as well, Shiros. Okay, I know I'm supposed to be here, but I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do here. But I just knew I had landed, that this was my tribe. So anyway, Brent says, and we'd been to lunch and just laughing, and nothing to do with working or anything. But this time we each had our little list. We went to and he said, I want to start with my list. I want you to work for us. And I thought, whoa, I can put my list away. And that was after I did that unique ability statement, and I began to share it with people. So there is something in this, affirmative prayer can come in many, many forms. Just telling a friend, this is my intention, and this is why. And in some of my work, I talk about the sacred libido of the heart, and to get in touch with that, and to make it quickening, Do you know what I mean by that? Can you think of maybe the first person you had a crush on? Remember that feeling? Maybe it's Mr. So-and-so at school, your teacher, or something like that. There, in many cultures in the world, there's a name for that, except in the English culture. We don't. And we can increase that libido of the heart, the same as going to the gym and pumping iron. You can increase it by getting in touch with it and doing things like I've had that campaign on for if you hear a siren, bless you, bless you. I put my left hand on my heart and my hand out. That's a radiant blessing, and sometimes I can't because if I'm driving, it's a little awkward. But that was my intent. And there is power in that. I think that's where our power to manifest things, it goes through the door of the heart. So I do want to leave a little time. Have I got 5 minutes for questions? And then I'll close. Does anybody have any question or comment, just so that I feel like I've really I'm being selfish, connected. Any questions about what I've said or comment? Bless you. Cheryl.
Just a comment, which is that the law of karma, cause and effect, is one thing, but it sits within who we are, the being. So despite the condition, we continue to be the being that we are.
Yeah, so for those who haven't heard the comment, it's that within the whole thing of karma, and some of that is a mystery to me, and I'm okay with it. You know, the more I think I got it down pat, but I know what I experience, and it's very important, as Cheryl said, to be authentic with and to get in touch with. And there's 3 levels in the work that I do that help you really understand what is hidden. We call it the unconscious, our less conscious, our self when nobody's looking, and our everyday self when we've got our game face on. We should be conscious of that. And then there's also our overextended self, who we are when we're stressed out. If we understand that, I have a friend who's a doctor, and she's actually writing in her medical journal that people are coming off their meds. She has a pain clinic at St. Mike's Hospital. And people are coming off their meds just by becoming consciously aware of your underlying self or your soul self. And just by being aware, it is quite, so that's what I did. I took that information with what people told me, how they observed me. And I just wanted to close with a couple of things. I wanted to tell you a story, day karma. So this is just a couple of weeks ago. When Ned and I are in Cortona, we go to a restaurant a lot called Dardano. It's a family restaurant. It's beautiful, but they have their vegetables and everything from their farm. And it's just a story of one table that they usually sit lone travelers or people that are eating by themselves. So we were just across from that table. And Ned couldn't see the person that was seated, and I could. She was this beautiful woman. I think she was wearing like Chanel suit. She was like perfect, everything, which most of us are pretty relaxed in when we're on vacation. There's a lot of expats in this town. So anyway, she was sitting and eating so slowly and so perfectly, and read her book, which often I do too if I'm by myself in a restaurant. And when she would have her wine, it was like a ritual. She would raise it up, and, that, and she would eat with just like the tiniest little piece. And I said to Ned, I wish you could see this woman. It makes us look like Neanderthals the way we eat. It's such a graceful. And he says, what? He's a little hard to hear. He says, what? I said, I think she's Oriental. And then so he says, how do you know? I said, how do I know? I have eyes. And he said, can I switch seats with you? And well, he thought I said she was horny. Anyway, so that was one night. This lone travel, this beautiful Oriental woman. She was like this beautiful geisha thing she was doing. Anyway, 2 or 3 nights later, we're back in our same seat. Again, a lone traveler came this time, also Asian, and he had a huge, it was probably about 18, huge backpack on his back. And even one on the front, and he had to struggle out of it and sit down. And of course, I eavesdrop, and he was making sure he could afford the meal. He was, is there a cover charge? How much is this in dollars and euro, all that. And finally, and the waitress had to go back and check with the kitchen, because she usually don't even talk about money. I mean, it's on the menu, but anyway. And I noticed he didn't want any water. He got up and went to the washroom. Because my daughter, when she was 18, went around the world with a backpack with her girlfriend. This little kid's by himself and worried about his finances, probably hungry if he's carrying this thing for any more than a block. And the first day we landed was Easter, and we went, there's only Catholic churches, we went to the Duomo, beautiful service. This will tell you how important music is to the church. We went, and the music, there were 2 black priests from Africa, and they did this, like the Lion King kind of music, Afrikaans. It was so gorgeous. And so I went back the next week. I didn't understand a word that the priest said because it was Italian, but the music was, it was so, like you could just feel, and I felt the same thing this morning. I got choked up. I mean, music raises your energy frequency. It just does. The next Sunday we go, nada, not one piece of music, just I can't understand him anyway. So back to the chair. I said, Ned says, you're far away. What are you thinking? And I said, well, I'm thinking I'm not going to church tomorrow. And because that was boring last week. He said, oh, okay, we'll do something else. And I said, you know what I'd really like to do? I said, this is everyday karma, I think. I said, I'd like to pay for that kid's dinner. Because I know that if it was if somebody did that for my kid, and I thought he'd think, oh, here you go again, because I'm always doing pro bono work and everything. And he said, that's a great idea. So we conspired with Paolo, the owner, and he thought it was great. And said, but we want to leave. We don't want to be around when you do this. So right away, we got some message back. This was interesting. We left. Then Paolo came running down the street, and he said, Ned, you overpaid by 20 euro. I don't know how he mixed it up. But so Ned got his, I guess, karma back. But every night when we were in town, we would go to the edge, because Cortona is up at the top of a hill. And there's a smaller town below. But you can't walk it. It's you take the bus, or you take a taxi, or whatever, but you don't walk it. So we would go to this place called Piazza Garibaldi and just watch the sun go down. You're seeing a valley and a lake, and it's just magnificent. And we would just, say goodnight to the town. And we did that this night, and Ned said, look, there's the kid walking down with his big pack all the way, like he was walking. He must have walked up and then walked down. So I remember, I sang a little bit of this, and I promise I won't sing. But it's a song that just goes in my head all the time. You probably heard Celine Dion sings it. It's sung half in Italian and half in English. It's called The Prayer. And I think I'll say it as my closing to you. The first line of the verse is, I pray you'll be our eyes. I pray you'll be our eyes. You know that one? That's all I'll say. But instead for us, I'll say, I affirm you'll be our eyes and watch us where we go and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer when we lose our way. Lead us to a place. Guide us with your grace to a place where we'll be safe. So that's what I wish for all of you. Thank you.
Wow. So you're going to make me cry. Yeah, because, our daughter is across the world in London. Her wallet was stolen last weekend. And, it just, thank you, Christina. Just knowing that somebody is looking after somebody else's child in another part of the world, that is karma. That's just, it's paying it forward. It's just, as a global community, we take care of each other. So on behalf of that child's mother, I thank you, because I know someone's taking care of my child, who's home in just less than 3 weeks.
Who's counting?
Who's counting? Sorry as I blow my nose. Thank you. Wonderful. Why don't we all stand? And it's that time when we share of our good, our investment in the center of our community together. And we are going to sing I Love. You'd think I would know which page it's on by now. 29. As the baskets go round. Let's sing.
I live, I breathe, I give, I receive, I laugh. here, what has been, what's still to be seen. I live, I breathe, I love, love, love. I live, I breathe, I love. I live, I breathe, I give, I receive. I laugh, I love. I'm a part of what's here, what has been, what's still to be seen. I live, I breathe, I love, love, love. I live, I breathe, I love. I live, I breathe, I love.
Come on up, Margaret Ann. Do a blessing of the offering.
There you are. I live, I breathe, I love. In this moment, as I breathe, as I love, I am fully aware that there is one presence. It is the divine essence of each and every one of us. It is God. It is the truth of who we are. And in this moment, this precious moment, that is the essence of gratitude, as my heart and our hearts are full of gratitude. I give thanks for the giving and the receiving, for the love, for the joy, for the essence of each of us. I give thanks. And in this place of gratitude, I acknowledge the gifts in these baskets as the love and the giving and the truth of who we are, this ever-evolving, this ever-expanding giving and receiving. And the receiving of this center of these gifts is open, is loving, is divinely inspired on how to use it, to employ it, to expand it. There is only one presence. It is God. It is life. It is love. It is joy. And it is this beautiful energy that is here for us to give, to receive, to use, and to allow this life to unfold perfectly. With grace, with power, with justice, with compassion. I am grateful. And in this moment, I am this awareness of the essence of this giving. And in gratitude, I release these words to the law, knowing that they are expanded upon and presented and loved. In this moment, I release, I let go, I let God express everything that is to be expressed in this present moment. I let it go. I let it be the truth of who each and every one of us is. And in gratitude, I release. Please join me in saying, and so it is.
Thank you. And in this moment of gratitude, let me just say thank you to everybody who helped put the service on today. Our board members on duty today, Jim and Linda. Setup was, I'm going to put my glasses on for this so I can see, Christina and Lori. Greeters today, Judy and Jim. Bookstore is Lorna. Cleaning, Lucy. Beautiful, fabulous Lucy comes in and cleans. Lucy doesn't like cleaning. She's been very clear with that, but she knows it's a job that needs to be done, and she feels that she's the one that, for now, needs to do it. So thank you, Lucy, if you're watching at home. We love you, and thank you. Carmen is on sound. Tony on the camera. Mahala is with the lovely, beautiful child, who is this beacon of joy. She's a cutie patootie. So is Mahala. And our practitioner of the day, Margaret Ann. Thank you very much. Margaret Ann is available for treatment after service. If you would like to have a quiet moment of Uber prayer, she's your gal. And thank you to my bandmates. Fantastic, guys. Thank you. And last but not least, thank you to Rev. Diane Hoover for joining us today. So as we're winding up, we're going to do a song we haven't done in a really, really, really long time. It's called Love Is My Decision. It's on page 12. Margaret, why don't you come on up and join us? You can do treatment midway. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. But once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. But once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now.
And in this moment of thankfulness and gratitude for this beautiful service, for our guest, for each and every congregant, and for each and every volunteer, I am grateful. And I give thanks that we as a community come together to listen and to speak and to share this beautiful expression of God as this community, as this center. There is only God. There is only the presence of God, this beautiful expression of love, this choice that we have to choose to live this love, to express it, to share it, to expand upon it, and to immerse ourselves in this joyful expression of God. I choose, and I trust that each and every one of us chooses this beautiful expression of God in this moment of knowing that each of us is the expression of God. There is only one expression, the divine essence of God, as each and every congregant, as this center unfolds. I breathe and I let it be so. I know that it is the truth, and I am grateful. I am grateful for this center, for these teachings, for the love that each of us expresses to each other, and to this beautiful day that is the expression of God. Today is the day of God, and each of us walks in it, in presence and in power and in beauty. This I know to be the truth. And in gratitude, I release this to the law of mind. I release it, I let it go, I let it be so. And together we say, and so it is.
decision. It's up to me to dance down that road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. But once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision right here and now.
Thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic week. Let's close this out with I Can See Clearly Now. And that is number 5 in your songbooks.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day.